My name is Michael P. Coleman. I'm content director with Brother Be Well. Excited to bring you this video in partnership with our colleagues at the Hawk Institute. They're engaged in mentoring men of color. Brother Be Well is all about supporting the mental and behavioral health of boys and men of color. So it's a fantastic partnership. And today, this is part of a youth support group where we're going to be talking about youth stress. I think a lot of times, adults, we think we've got that down pat, right? And it might be hard to remember a time when we really couldn't envision what those stressors were. They're coming at us for the very first time. Not that hard for me. I think we're living in a world where we're getting things that are hitting us for the very first time. But we decided to bring together a kind of cross-generational group of clinicians with Brother Be Well, mentors with the Hawk Institute, peer support leaders rather, that are youth themselves. And we're just going to take a look at a couple of videos and talk about stress in general and ways in which we can manage stress. I'd like to bring in one of our clinical advisors. Patrick Ma is one of our tried and true clinical advisors. Patrick, talk a little bit about, from your perspective, stress and why it's important that we get a handle of it and get a hold of it and learn how to manage it.
Hi there. My name is Patrick Ma, and I'm a clinical advisor with Brother Be Well. So stress has many important aspects that will impact your body. So it's not only emotional, which is what most people think. When you are stressed, there is a hormone released in your body called cortisol. This hormone is treated in your body the same as if you were in a fight or flight response. And then in addition to that, you get epinephrine and norepinephrine and all these hormones rushing into your body to combat whatever crisis that you may be in. That is the stage, the physiological stage the body is in. So when you are stressed out, it's not just an expression where you have so many things going on and you just feel overwhelmed. Your body also have a reaction to that stress that you're experiencing. So with that said, it can have both the physical and a mental impact on your body. And chronic prolonged stress can have impact on your body the same way that other physical illness can, such as high blood pressures or diabetes. So there actually have been several studies being done about stress and the physiologic response that the body enact in order to combat stress. And long story short, when you are stressed out, your body react to it, and it can cause damage in the long term. Unfortunately, for many of us brothers and sisters of colors, chronic prolonged stress is unavoidable due to our socioeconomic status, our sexual orientations, or because of the mental health condition that we are dealing with. So I'm excited to be here, and let's discuss stress.
I appreciate your perspective, Patrick. I always like working with you. I want to pull Richard Toledo in. He and I were just in a podcast production where we were talking about some very specific community stressors. Richard, what's your take on stress? Why is it important that somebody from your generation really focuses in? Patrick's kind of suggesting to you why it might be important, but I want to hear from your perspective. Why do you think we really need to be paying attention to this? And why is it so critical in today's world?
Well, from what I heard, if you stress your whole life, it's easier for you to get wrinkles as you get older. And, so, as a youth, it's important to stay mentally stable, mentally healthy, just because the way you learn to think, the way you learn over time how to cope with stress is going to help you in the long run. So if youth learn how to cope with their stress now, it will be easier for them to cope with stress later, especially when responsibilities hit, jobs, bills, all those good adult things. Whereas if a kid doesn't get those basic skills on how to reduce that stress, then in order to change those things as you get older becomes a little difficult. It's never impossible, but it just becomes a little more difficult. And so I think it's very, very important now to get those skills. It's very important.
I don't want to make light of anything you just said, Richard, but I have to say you had me with you can avoid wrinkles. So let's just acknowledge. Patrick, I knew you'd laugh at that. For some of us, you know what? We don't want high blood pressure. We don't want that. But even the cosmetic, we can improve our overall appearance. I guess that's a better way of putting it if we pay attention to stress. I didn't always realize the impact of very directly to stress and our physical appearance and well-being. I wish we had one of our medical providers in to talk about that. Before we take a look at one or two videos that I'd like to share, I want to ask, and I should have done it right at the top, Andre Warren is the man over at the Hogg Institute, one of the men over there that's providing this incredible mentoring resource. Andre, talk a little bit just about the work that you do and the stress that the young people that you're serving are dealing with. I'm unfortunate. I don't have that very direct daily interaction with young people like I'd like to have. So talk about your work and the stresses that they're under and why it's important that we do this particular production.
Hello, group, and thank you, Michael. My name is Andre Warren. I'm with the Hogg Institute. We work with a lot of youth who are in our community. I'm in the same community that I grew up in, which is Oak Park. And the one thing that kind of caught my attention as this conversation was going, and also a conversation we had earlier with a group of young men, is knowing what stress is at a young age. Because once again, when I was young, I didn't know what stress was. So if you don't know what something is, it's kind of hard to treat it or kind of hard to ask for help. So when I was young, I think I would equate stress to worry. I had a lot of worries when I was young, but I didn't know that it was called stress. So yes, I worried about a lot of things, growing up in inner city, growing up low income, school stress, daily life stress. So the one thing that, like I said, caught my attention is letting the youth know what stress is, what worry is. Yes, worry is a part of stress and stress is part of worry, but just to inform them so they'll know that they're going through something that they can treat. Because once again, if you don't know what you're going through, it's kind of hard to ask for help, and it's kind of hard to ask, for what kind of treatment you can get.
I really appreciate that, Andre. Excellent point there. I want to take a look, if we would, let's take a pause, and D'Angelo and Malik, I'm going to pull you in a second, but let's take a look at one of two videos. These are productions of Brother B. Wells. The first is a stress relief video by a member of the Capital City Black Nurses Association. Cherie Kreiner is the vice president of that organization, and she's a registered nurse here in the Sacramento area. She did a phenomenal, we call them selfie videos, and this particular topic is stress relief. So we thought it'd be particularly relevant to what we're talking about. So let's take a look at that video, and then we'll come right back and get at it.
Hello, my name is Cherie, and I'm a nurse, and I'm here to take the stress out of stress relief. You don't have to make any grand gestures when you're feeling stressed. Your body gives you all the information you need to know. Our bodies are built to self-regulate. When you feel your shoulders being tight, a headache, pain in the back of the neck, pain anywhere in the body, your legs are feeling restless, your body's telling you that something needs to change in that moment to regulate. So when you're feeling stress coming on and it's building up in your body, you can do something as simple as taking a deep breath, just grounding yourself in a chair, taking that nice breath in, lowering those shoulders, decreasing your heart rate, being in the moment and feeling that stress just ooze out of your body in that moment. If your legs are restless or you're feeling the need to get up and move, listen to that. Go for a walk, go for a run, go for a jog. If you are feeling pent up energy and that needs to get out, do another physical activity, kickboxing, boxing, play a game of basketball, soccer, volleyball, whatever you're interested in. You have all the tools you need right here in your own person to decrease stress in the moment and long term. I strongly suggest you take the stress out of stress relief and pick something that makes sense for you, that's easy and that you can do on your own, and it doesn't require any equipment. So please continue to take care of yourselves and reduce your stress even if you spend a moment out of your day, out of each day, that is helpful to overall contribute to your mental health and well-being.
You can see for yourself why Cherie Kreiner is one of my favorite people in the world. She's so centered and so has such a beautiful spirit and knows how to convey that. She's given us a few tips about stress relief. And so that kind of leads us right into our first question. I think I want to just open this up and we'll just do a little round robin and everybody can check in. I'm curious about what your number one stressor is for the panel. So what's the thing, if you can identify the number one thing that brings you stress or causes you to have stress in your life? And maybe we'll start out with you, D'Angelo. Why don't you introduce yourself and then talk about your number one stressor?
Hey, how you guys doing? Thank you for having me. My name is D'Angelo Smith. I am a BI developer. I moved out in Sacramento about 6-7 years ago from Ellenwood, Georgia, Atlanta stand up, you know. But my number one stressor, I would say, would have to be failure. You know, even though I think I roll with the punches and, you know, I've been able to pivot anytime I've been given any type of obstacle, you know, just the thought of failing whatever I am attempting at the moment and not fulfilling, especially if somebody is depending on me, which I find a lot in my job because, you know, we code different parts and pieces and we hand it off down the chain. So when I think that I am the bottleneck for that, I am the reason, you know, it kind of falls squarely on me, and that puts an extreme amount of stress on me.
Something I would not have named. Appreciate it, D'Angelo. Devontae Springer, let's go to you. You've been involved in some Brother Be Well youth chats in the past. I haven't had a chance to work directly with you, so welcome to this conversation. I got a feeling that each one of us might come up with a very different top stressor, so that's why I wanted to do this. Devontae, what's your number one stressor if you had to identify that today?
Yeah, so I would say, for those who don't know me, my name is Devontae Springer, the CEO and founder of Community House Activism, a Sacramento native, and I would say my number one stressor would be, I would say, growing old, I guess. Growing old.
You're ready for it.
I'm ready for it, but I think I have a different answer because I have kids. So yeah. I want to be able to grow old and see them be able to grow older.
That's an interesting one. I don't want to sidetrack because I've got kids as well. I want to ask, how old are your kids?
My daughter is 4 and my son is 5.
I can relate to those stresses, and when I was about your age, I would imagine that was my top one too. I feared that I wouldn't live to see them. There was so much going on in the world, and this is pre-COVID-19. There was so much going on. My big fear was, will I live to see them grow up? So that was a big stressor. I appreciate you being honest enough to share that.